Hey there, StarCraft 2 fans, and welcome to another broadcast. On this particular match, we are looking at Game 3, total Game 3 of the Kraft Gaming Cup. This is Game 1 of 2 between Cheeseblock and FuzzyNickles. Here on the left side of Metalopolis, we have FuzzyNickles, the teal Zerg player, and on the right side of the map, we have Cheeseblock, the pink Terran player. Both players look like they're opening pretty standard here, just producing SCVs and drones, so no cheesy play to start off with. Oddly enough, with the name Cheeseblock, you would think that he would be looking to do some very cheesy play. However, pretty standard so far. Nothing out of the ordinary in terms of a very early supply depot or anything like that. We do have the supply depot going down on top of the ramp, going down at 10 supplies, so very standard for a Terran build. We do have the drone now pushing across the map for the Zerg player, looking to scout this top expansion. We do have the Overlord making its way down here to the bottom expansion as well. Going to find that that expansion is not occupied, and this drone unfortunately is going to find that this expansion is not occupied either. Fortunately for this map, I do enjoy watching games where they are on cross positions. However, typically when the game is on close positions, close spawning positions between here and down here, it typically is very short. Terran players usually like to rush, do some type of somewhat of an all-in attack. And unfortunately that doesn't make for a very exciting or very fun game. We do like to see games where in cross positions there's a little bit longer of a distance to just rush across the map and do a lot of damage. So hopefully we're in for a very good matchup. Hopefully we'll see some epic battles and epic armies clashing on the field. We do have the Zerg player noting that there is no expansion. They're going to go ahead and try and pick away at this barracks just a little bit. Going to go around and start tapping away at that SCV. However, he's going to get scared off by this other SCV that's moving across. We'll notice that the Terran player actually did move his SCV out and scout around here. He wanted to ensure that the Zerg player had not spawned here in close air positions. If he had, that Overlord would have flown across, and the Terran player probably would have been able to catch that with that SCV they used to scout. We do have the orbital command going down. The first gas is complete. We do have 3 SCVs mining from there. The drone is actually now stuck, and the Terran player is going to go ahead and micro that first Marine around a little bit. Actually, he completely stopped microing it, so looks like the drone's going to get a slight reprieve before he gets killed. Hiding in that smoke screen, trying to juke the Marine, and he actually does juke the Marine. Oh, very nice play from the Zerg player. However, he is finally picked off. That Marine had to go to an extra little bit of work there to get that drone killed off. We do not see an expansion yet from the Zerg player. A little bit unusual play. Typically going to see an expansion. However, at 20 supply, we do have the Zergling speed down. No actual Zerglings produced just yet, I believe. It doesn't look like it. We just do have Zergling speed and a lot of drone production going down for the Zerg player. Queen on the way as well. Still moving his overlords around the map, doing quite a bit of scouting, so very good play from the Zerg player in terms of moving around and seeing what he can see. We do have an expansion attempting to go down. Unfortunately, the Terran player has blocked that with that pesky SCV. Looks like the drone's going to have to do a little bit of picking away at the SCV to make an effort to block that expansion, and we'll see that the Zerg player's obviously not very happy about that. That irritation that comes from having an expansion blocked. Zerg player could actually back around right now. I'm not sure why he's not doing that. Does have the money for the expansion, so now would be a good time to go ahead and do that. The Queen, however, does pick off that SCV, so pesky SCV is now gone. We do have some Zerglings moving across the map here. Probably going to take those watchtowers, do a little bit of scouting, see what he can see. We do have a starport, actually a Destiny Cloudfist build going down from the Terran player, so Reactored Hellion. Probably going to look to do a Hellion drop of some sort. We'd have the double Hellion production on the way. With the starport here, I would not be surprised in the least to see a medevac come out of there. With 2 more Hellions on the way, and a 4 Hellion drop would be what I would love to see out of this Terran player right now. Could do a lot of damage. The Zerglings coming out here are going to spot that. Probably is going to know what's coming now. However, all those Zerglings are going to get picked off with only minor damage done to those Hellions. Bring down an SCV and repair those guys, and that will be good to go. Actually, it looks like we're going to transition into a Banshee, so very interesting play from our Terran player. Going to do just straight up harassment in terms of putting the pressure on the Zerg player. We do not have cloaking on the way. Actually, cloaking just now started. The Banshee just started as well, so it looks like we're going to move the barracks over here and start getting out some reactored Marines, and those Hellions that were produced are just going to be pesky and move across the map and see what kind of damage they can do. However, no micro from the Terran player. Unfortunately, one of the Hellions does get picked off. However, they are so good against those Zerglings. The Zerglings just getting completely roasted. Zerglings are stopped up at the top of the ramp and are picked off by the rest of the Hellions. Unfortunately, he did lose one Hellion there that I think might have been a little bit unnecessary. Could have microed around a little bit better to save the rest of those Hellions. However, the Hellions now pushing out across the map. We are going to see those guys probably look to do a little bit of harassment. Aside from spotting the watchtower, probably going to look to do a little bit of harassment on the Zerg's mineral line. Might be able to pick off a few drones if he's lucky. However, with the queens that are out, I don't know that that's going to happen. We do have an evolution chamber now coming out from the Zerg player. The layer is now finished, so he will have detection by the time that the Banshee comes in. Also have a roach horn going down for the Zerg player as well. So going a couple different tech routes, going roaches. We do have Baneling Nest as well. Unfortunately, this Banshee is going to win this battle with the Queen. Banshee with Queen one-on-one. Banshee is always going to come out on top as long as there's no damage. The Spore Crawler might actually finish, which means this Banshee could be in a little bit of trouble. If that Spore Crawler is able to get off 1 or 2 shots, that Banshee could be done. We do see the Banshee complete. The Spore Crawler is able to get off 1 shot, leaves 8 HP for that Banshee. The medevac coming over here, I think that was just a missed rally. Probably didn't intend for that actually to make it across the map. We do see the Banshee now coming around here. Looks like he's going to start to punch away at this Roach Warren. No Queen produced here. One very close to being finished. So once that Queen pops, he should be able to take care of this this Banshee quite easily. We do notice the extra Spore Crawler here, and 1 shot from that Queen, and away goes the Banshee. So all sort of harassment from the Banshee has been completely shut down. We do have 1 medevac being produced. However, the Terran player is now supply blocked. We'll notice that he's just now throwing down the supply depot. However, it looks like the command center might actually finish before the supply depot does, which will unsupply block him. We do have 1 Overlord here from the Zerg player, just spotting this expansion. Very good placement of that Overlord. 1 Zerg player, 1 Zergling, just picking away to check and make sure there's no expansion going down from the Terran player just yet. We do have the command center complete and morphing into an orbital command, so going to be able to double that mule production. Definitely be able to get some extra income. If we take a look at the production tab, we do notice a Spire on the way for the Zerg player, about 33% complete. We do have a Zerg missile attacks level 1, so probably going to be looking to do Roach. Very odd combination, but Roach Mutalisk, I guess, is what he's going to go. No upgrades for the Roaches yet, so I'm not sure what he's getting the missile upgrade for, unless he just wants to go into Hydras later on. He's just getting a preliminary upgrade. However, with only 1 Geyser capped, he's going to have a tough time producing Mutalisks out of this Spire. We'll see the Marines are getting dropped off here. With the medevac, they are going to be able to heal up, and he is spreading out the Marines quite well. I'm not sure if that's intentional or accidental. It does look like he's trying to make as much damage as he can against those drones. However, they are pushed back by the group of roaches. He is able to pull away 5 Marines out of that grouping, so only lost 3 Marines. Did look like he did about 3 or 4 drones in damage, and he does, most importantly, I think, he does spot the Spire, so he is aware that Mutalisks are going to be on the way pretty quickly here. We do have, now in the production tab, no Mutalisks on the way just yet, obviously because his gas is so low. No gas capped from the natural expansion yet, so a little bit unusual play from the Zerg player. Not sure why he's not getting a little bit more gas to start pumping out those Mutalisks and really get the harassment on. But for now, it looks like we're just going to stick with just roaches at this time. Really, this is his entire army. If we take a look over at the army tab, we'll notice that the Zerg player is very far behind the Terran player. Almost 20 food behind, over 20 food behind actually. And if we take a look at the income tab, we'll notice that the Terran player is actually ahead in harvesters as well. So unfortunately, the Zerg player really having a bit of trouble here staying up with the Terran player, which is never a good thing. You never want to be out macroed by a Terran player as a Zerg player, simply because your units just are naturally somewhat weaker. We do now have an infestation pit going down from the Zerg player, so he actually could be looking to transition to Broodlords or Ultralists. I'm not sure. Actually, he cancels the infestation pit, so a little bit of indecision there from the Zerg player. We do have a second expansion going down as well, so probably looking to macro up quite a bit before making any type of play against a Terran player. Excuse me. We do have a couple Banshees here from the Terran player, some tanks, a Thor, quite a hodgepodge of units. He's actually gone a couple different tech routes, so it's actually quite good. He's able to open up his opportunities as far as what he's able to do. We do have a medevac pushing across the map here, full of Marines. Looks like it's going to be rallied actually around to the expansion, so he is going to be aware that an expansion is in place, and he's probably going to drop there and see if he can't take that out before the roaches are able to respawn. The Marines do have stem. They do not have combat shield, oddly enough, so a little bit Unsure why he didn't get combat shield. Most Terran players, if you're going to go any sort of Marine heavy build, you're going to want to get that combat shield just to provide the extra damage. Terran player actually unloading those Marines right now. He's probably going to go ahead and stem and push forward, and then actually most of these drones are going to get taken out. Terrible loss there from the Zerg player. Awful timing, and the rest of those drones caught just in time. They are able to retreat. However, this hatchery could go down. No response yet from the Zerg player. Not sure where his roaches are. They were actually out of position. I don't even see where his roaches went. They're still down here. The Mutalisk pushing across the map, but with this Thor in position, I don't think there's much these Mutalisks are going to be able to do. One turret over there doing a lot of damage. These Mutalisks, actually, he loses 2 of the 4 Mutalisks he started with, and the expansion has gone down for the Zerg player with only 1 Marine loss from the Terran player. The medevac now pushing down here to the bottom part of the map. Looks like he's going to try to do some damage to this expansion. There are a lot of drones here. If he is able to pick some of these off, he could do a lot of economic damage to the Zerg player. However, with the roaches here, should be able to push that back fairly quickly if he's able to push forward. But the Terran player does pick those Marines up very quickly. Didn't actually lose a single Marine off of that particular attack, and he's going to go ahead and retreat. So, very effective attacks from the Terran player. He's actually only lost a handful of units. If we look at the units lost tab, we'll notice that the Zerg player is quite far ahead in terms of simply that hatchery, those additional drones that went down, the Zerglings that were lost to the Hellions. So those initial attacks were very effective by the Terran player. He was able to produce units that were very effective against the Zerg's army, the Zerg's army competition. And now these Zerglings that are pushing forward here, I'm not sure what they're trying to accomplish, but this army is just far too great for the Zergling, small Zergling force here to handle, especially with these air units mixed in. He's going to be able to do a lot of damage. The Zerg player must know that he's in a lot of trouble now. Attempting to take the gold expansion, probably the only thing he's going to be able to do to get himself back in this game. He's quite far behind. Does have a lot of roaches, but in terms of units that are going to do a lot of damage, he just doesn't have the right unit composition to deal with this Terran force. The Marines were able to move in there and pick off that queen. Probably do a little bit more damage, but the roaches do come in and clean that up. Unfortunately, these Mutalisks are not going to be able to do a lot of damage, simply because the amount of Thors that are on the field. We do have one Thor there. I guess he actually, yeah, and one Thor just guarding the main. So basically using the Thors as a mobile missile turret, if you will, which I think is a really great idea. Those Thors with the splash damage, they're very hardy units compared to a missile turret. Obviously they cost quite a bit more, and they are not detectors, but in terms of being able to do a lot of damage, they do a really good effect in that regard. We do notice the Terran player pushing forward here, sieging up those tanks, and they are doing a lot of damage. The Marines retreating, the Banelings using all of their explosive power on the Marauders. Terrible loss there from the from the Zerg player. Really did not need to push forward with that particular unit composition. The Roaches just went in there and completely got decimated by the tanks. And now, unfortunately, I fear that the game is going to be over here pretty soon for the Zerg player. Terran sieging up all of his tanks again, just out of range of any attack that the Zerg player can do. However, the Marines in here dealing a lot of damage. Very important to note, without that combat shield, these Marines are very susceptible to taking a lot of damage, but the medevacs there are able to heal them up. And the GG is called from the Zerg players. So, very good play from both players, I would say. A couple of indecisions between the Zerg player did cost him some time and some extra resources, and I'm afraid that's actually what cost him the game in the end. Terran player was able to just macro up as good as he could. Zerg player was not able to harass very well, whereas the Terran player was able to push forward with a couple of very effective drops and very effective attacks, and was able to claim the game. So we'll move on to Game 2 between Cheeseblock and FuzzyNickles. This will be Game 4 of the tournament. I look forward to your guys' comment below. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in that comment section below. And if you enjoyed this cast, please do subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Thanks for watching.